In this video 2 weeks ago, after the week 1 panic, we told people to go after guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., Amon-Ra St. Brown, Derrick Henry, Chris Olave, DK Metcalf, and Puka Nacua. We also told people to trade away the likes of Michael Pittman and Javonte Williams, even Travis Kelce. Now, if you listened to that and made any of those moves, your team is in a much better spot right now. That's why every other week on this channel, we're going to go through every NFL team and find out what trades should we be making.
I'm a headliner.
What is going on, Headliner Nation? Hopefully everyone is doing well out there again, where we're talking about trades once again in fantasy football. We did this show 2 weeks ago. We're going to continue to do it every other week because people love the format so much. We got to stay on top of these trades so we can build some great teams. And I feel like we found a way to do it that's very easy for a lot of people to understand. But I like to keep it fun in the comment section. I like to build the community. So I want to start off with a question, because let's have some debates down below. I want to know what you think is the most overrated TV show or movie of all time, because I have a feeling that's going to lead to some pretty good discussions down below in the comment section. But we're not wasting any time. We're diving right into trades. And let's go ahead and just keep it in alphabetical order. Once again, we'll start off with the Arizona Cardinals, where I'm trying to go out and acquire James Conner if possible. Now, of all the guys we're probably going to talk about today, he may be one of the most difficult to get, but he's definitely somebody we need to target. When he's healthy and on the field, his role in this offense is so large, it cannot be ignored, but he's coming off of a down game last week against one of the best rush defenses in football. And really, that means this may be our last chance to grab James Conner before it's too late. We know he's not in any immediate trouble of losing his job to Trey Benson. He's involved in the pass-catching game. We know Trey McBride is banged up right now, so if you can acquire James Conner, really he's the guy I'm going after in Arizona. For Atlanta, we can trade away Darnell Mooney. Now, a lot of you out there may not even own Darnell Mooney. He may be on some waiver wires, but in some deeper leagues, Darnell Mooney is gaining value. He's quickly becoming kind of the check down guy for Kirk Cousins. 8 targets and 8 receptions. Didn't really do a whole lot with it, but he's being looked at consistently. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to trade Darnell Mooney for some big name player. I get that. But if you're trying to swing a trade for maybe a bigger name guy, you could always do a 2-for-1 deal and have Darnell Mooney be the guy that you include in that deal. You have to remember, a lot of people only look at box scores, and seeing a wide receiver get 8 receptions in a game makes a lot of people feel pretty happy. But really, there's no one else in Atlanta we have to consider. We're not trading Kirk Cousins. People don't trade quarterbacks in single quarterback leagues. If you're in Superflex, you're not going to get a whole lot for him. Drake London is starting to produce. A lot of people aren't going to trade him away. Kyle Pitts, not a whole lot of people want Kyle Pitts. Bijan Robinson not going anywhere. But if you own Darnell Mooney, he's a piece that I try to leverage a little bit. How about Baltimore? I'm trading for Zay Flowers. He's going to be the leading target receiver here in Baltimore rest of season. Now, while that may not equate to top 12 overall numbers, it is going to equate to top 24 numbers. And with as volatile as the fantasy football landscape is in 2024, some of us need a little bit of safety in their lineup, and that is Zay Flowers. As for Mark Andrews, never should have been drafted, right? Everybody should have left it to their dumb league mates to draft Mark Andrews, but we got to try to get rid of him when we possibly can. If he has a big game anytime here in the near future, I'm trying to capitalize on the name value and the bounce back game and just get something in return for him. Luckily, the tight end landscape this year absolutely blows. All tight ends suck. So if you have Mark Andrews, you're probably struggling at the position just like the majority of your league mates anyway. But that will take us down to Buffalo, where I'm watching Keon Coleman right now, and I'm not actively trying to go out and grab him a little bit early. A lot of people will see the big play touchdown from last week and automatically want to jack up his price because of one big play. I'm not going to go out there and overbuy just yet, but if we start to see him get a larger target share over the next week or two, he is a name we need to pay attention to, because I fully expect him to be integrated in this offense, more so second half of the NFL season. How about Carolina? I'll go out and try to get Xavier Leggett, include him in a deal somewhere. Adam Thielen is dealing with a hamstring injury, which means now with Andy Dalton under center, we're going to be able to move the ball down the field more. We know Deontay Johnson is going to get his. Xavier Leggett is a yak monster that maybe we could get for almost free as a throw-in in some deals. How about Chuba Hubbard, though? A lot of people saw what happened with him last week, the huge explosion, the 20-point game, and they're expecting it rest of season. Don't. Jonathan Brooks is coming back at some point here into this offense, and even if he doesn't take over the role, he will get some touches weekly in this offense, which means that's going to lower the ceiling of Chuba Hubbard. If you can sell high on him now, I most definitely will. Same thing for Chicago and Cole Kmet. There are so many targets up for grabs in this offense, and Cole Kmet is coming off his best game of the season, and really it's not that close. But when Keenan Allen returns, Cole Kmet's going to go back to what we saw at the start of the season. A whole lot of nothing. A whole lot of average. So if you can sell him high right now, it's definitely a move I'm considering. Which will then bring us down to Cincinnati, and honestly, I'm trading away Yoshi. I know a lot of people think this guy deserves a lot more respect, and honestly, he probably does. He's still getting touchdown looks in an offense that has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Mike Gesicki. But is it going to last? More than likely, probably not. We saw rookie tight end Eric All start to get integrated into this offense just last week, and eventually, the targets are just going to slowly disappear for Yoshi. He's already highly touchdown dependent. If he's not scoring touchdowns, he's not scoring fantasy points right now. He's not a guy that we can count on going out there and getting 5 or 6 catches for 50 or 60 yards a week and the occasional touchdown. No, we're talking like 15, 20 yards and a touchdown. And if the touchdown isn't there, he absolutely kills you in fantasy football. So I'm trying to sell high and include him into a deal if possible. How about the Cleveland Browns? Give me some David Njoku. He's been hurt, but he should be coming back here in the near future. At this point, the tight end position is nothing but a crapshoot. I'll take a chance on David Njoku if I have a roster full of absolute nothing at the tight end position. Now, there is nothing out there suggesting to me that David Njoku is going to be some elite top 5 tight end rest of season. But given the current landscape of the tight end position, where everyone basically sucks, I'm just looking for that potential lottery ticket that may hit. That could be David Njoku. Not to mention, if he's ruled out once again, maybe you have a panicked league owner that's willing to deal him because they have other holes to fill. That's definitely something to look for as well. Dallas, no one really there as of right now. We're actively going after Zeke, and that running game is washed. Brandon Cooks, washed for the most part. Jalen Tolbert, not somebody we're actively going after. CeeDee Lamb's not going anywhere. Not a whole lot in Dallas. What about Denver? Trying to trade away Javonte Williams, but I can't imagine too many people want the guy. He's really in the same boat to me as like a Mark Andrews. I'm hoping for a big game here pretty soon so we can flip him for something on our roster. When I look at the Denver Broncos rest of season, honestly, I feel a little bit better about Jaleel McLaughlin in this backfield than I do Javonte Williams. But I also don't want to just drop the guy either for some peanuts on the waiver wire. You need to be really focused on Javonte Williams if you own him, because if he has a good game in week 4 or 5, try to flip him for something as quick as you possibly can. Which takes us down to Detroit. No real moves we're going to make there. A lot of people aren't parting ways with those pieces. And then we go down to Green Bay, and it's Jaden Reed. Now, Jordan Love is on his way back, which means Jaden Reed's value is about to go back up. Now, we all saw what the ceiling was in week 1, and that's not something we can expect week after week from Jaden Reed, but he definitely has more value with Jordan Love than he did with Malik Willis. Now, at the time of this recording, it sounds like Jordan Love is going to make his way back, but nothing has been said officially. Now, this may be somewhat of a hot take, but I'm actually okay with going out and trying to target Jaden Reed if we're really worried about some of these upcoming studs that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. Now, no, I'm not saying we can go out there and trade Jaden Reed for Tyreek Hill straight up. No, but if you have Tyreek Hill and you want to make a deal with the Jaden Reed owner for Reed and maybe another piece, I'll probably be okay with that. Which takes us down to Houston. No real moves there right now. Nobody wants Tank Dell. He's out there he's hoping for a target on a weekly basis. Stephon Diggs still eating in this offense. Nico Collins is the alpha. People aren't parting ways with those guys, especially with Joe Mixon banged up as well. Indianapolis, try to trade away Michael Pittman. This passing game in Indianapolis is absolutely atrocious. They're not throwing the ball much, and when they do throw it, it's deep down the field for very inconsistent and really low percentage shots, and that's not what we're trying to do with Michael Pittman. Sure, the occasional big play would be nice, but we're trying to rack up catchable targets, and that's not something he's seen in this offense. It's not a Michael Pittman problem. It's an Anthony Richardson and play calling problem as of right now. Now, obviously, not a lot of people really want Michael Pittman either. Another one of these guys that we just have to pay attention to and try to sell if he can put together a decent game. We may not see some huge game, but something decent that we can sell him or include him in a deal, I'm okay with that as well. Then we go down to Jacksonville. Give me some Christian Kirk. Now we know Gabe Davis is banged up, and we finally saw Trevor Lawrence start to rely on Christian Kirk a little bit more. This team in Jacksonville is very much so underperforming in 2024. I expect Trevor Lawrence to go back to his binky and what he feels most comfortable with, which is Christian Kirk in this offense. And really, because his production has been a little bit lower overall on the season, you can still probably get him pretty cheap. For Kansas City, we're trying to trade Travis Kelce if we possibly can. Now, obviously, there's some other names on this list that, man, not a lot of people want anything to do with Travis Kelce right now, but it's all about name value, and he's got a great matchup here this upcoming week against the Chargers. If he can put up some solid points this week, you will be able to flip Travis Kelce for something on your roster. Now, sure, that may mean you need to stream tight ends the rest of the season. It's not like you've been happy starting Travis Kelce all year either, and he's not going to have a big game each and every week. Prime Kelce is over with. How about the Raiders? We got Davante Adams. Give me some Davante Adams. A lot of people are disappointed with the production so far, but really, it's a repeat of 2023. Almost 10 targets a game. He's going to be right around 6 catches and 60 to 70 yards a week and a touchdown every other game. Now, on the surface, it's not overall great, but just due to the volume alone, it puts him in the category of being a top 12 fantasy wide receiver at the end of the year, just like he was last year. Now, it doesn't matter if it's Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell, the volume is still going to be there, so if you can grab Davante Adams as a wide receiver 2 for your team, I'm all over it. Then we go down to the Chargers, and I'm selling Quentin Johnston. All of these touchdowns are greatly propping up his fantasy production and making him look a lot more involved than he really is. We know right now that Justin Herbert is dealing with a high ankle sprain. He's not going to be as mobile as he has been in years past. We also know that Josh Palmer has missed some time. Quentin Johnston's production is just tied to touchdowns, and right now, while he's scoring them, we need to capitalize on that and sell high. Unless you think that Quentin Johnston is going to score 20 touchdowns this season, which if you do, fantasy football may not be for you. Which then takes us down to the other LA team, the Rams, and I left Puka up here on the slide. He was on here 2 weeks ago. I'm still trying to acquire him wherever I can. In that show, I talked about how a lot of owners were going to be panicked because they just lost one of their top picks from their fantasy football drafts, and if you have depth at the wide receiver position, you can grab Puka, throw him on your IR, and just wait for him to return. Well, since then, we've lost Cooper Kupp, so when Puka Nacua comes back, he could be in line for a ginormous role. Go out there and grab him where you can. If people can't afford to just have him sitting on their IR, they actually need a piece to start weekly, go take Puka from him as quickly as possible. Miami, we're watching Tyreek Hill, right? I mentioned his name a little bit earlier. I would like to trade Tyreek Hill if possible, but I don't want to just trade him away for nothing. Now, obviously, with the rumors of Miami going to Tyler Huntley, this could change the game plan just a little bit. Does that mean we're going to see big play top 12 Tyreek again? Probably not, but maybe we do see him a little bit higher than that 5 catch for 40-yard floor that we just saw last week. Like I said, I'm not opposed to trading him. I just want to be sure to get something in return because of the unknown tied to this offense in Tyler Huntley. Minnesota, nothing we're really changing there or going after. New England, I'm watching Ramondre Stevenson season. He started off the season hot the first 2 weeks, had an absolute dud in week 3, and everybody's just like, I'm out on Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, we're talking about a guy who was top 10 at the position the first couple weeks of the season. He had over 50 touches in 2 games. Then yes, he had a bad game. And the last thing you want to do after a game like that is trade a player because the value took such a huge hit. But I am paying attention to him here over the next few weeks. There's a tough schedule upcoming for New England. If the guy continues to struggle, maybe we start to consider it a little bit, but with the amount of volume he's getting, there's no way we can give up on that just yet. There are very few running backs out there in the NFL that approach 20 touches per week. Stevenson is still one of those guys despite week 3 being a downer. So I'm not giving up on him yet, but he's definitely a name I'm paying attention to. New Orleans and the Giants, nothing really we're going after there. I had Chris Olave on this show 2 weeks ago. People were scared about that start. He started to bounce back now. But then we get down to the Jets, and honestly, I'm watching Garrett Wilson as of right now. He started the season a lot slower than a lot of people had expected. And yes, his yardage totals are a little bit down, but what's really hurting us is the touchdowns that are going the way of Allen Lazard, who you see in the category here of trading away. It's a perfect sell high moment for Allen Lazard. He's tied to Aaron Rodgers, who's been his quarterback for quite some time, but a lot of his fantasy production has been propped up by just touchdowns alone. One of those touchdowns were actually thrown by Tyrod Taylor, and a lot of people forget about that. So if you can sell high on Allen Lazard right now, I most definitely do that. Garrett Wilson, we're watching closely the next couple weeks. It's too early to bail on him. This offense is still too invested in him and includes him weekly. We just haven't seen that big play, so definitely pay close attention to Garrett Wilson here over the next few weeks. Then for Philadelphia, A.J. Brown. Can we take advantage of another panicked owner out there? Find the A.J. Brown owner in your league. Are they struggling? Can you swoop in and get A.J. Brown for dirt cheap? No, you're not going to have him for week 4. They're on bye week 5, but starting week 6, if you can get A.J. Brown at a discount, he could be a huge boost to your team. So he's definitely somebody I'm watching right now. I don't want to go out there and sell the farm for A.J. Brown, but sure, a name that I would definitely like to add if possible. Then nobody really for Pittsburgh. For San Francisco, I'll go out there and get Brandon Ayuk. Yes, he has started the season a little bit slow. Yes, even myself included, expected more from him in week 3, but really it all went the way of Juwan Jennings. But what a lot of people didn't see is Brandon Ayuk just had the most targets in a game that he's had since 2022. And really, he just missed a couple big plays by mere inches. He is still a proven top 12 fantasy wide receiver, and with all the injuries in San Francisco, you have to think he's going to continue to get a better chance to bounce back, and you can get him at dirt cheap value right now. As for Juwan Jennings, sell, sell, sell. People will see what he did last week and all of a sudden think he's the second coming of Jerry Rice in San Francisco. But really, he's a product of the environment, and the environment is full of injured players right now. George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. Ayuk didn't really even play much this offseason, so really the first 3 weeks of the season was his preseason. Juwan Jennings isn't going to explode every week from now until the end of the season, and his value is never going to be higher if you own him. Then we go down to Seattle. Still give me some Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now his usage has been up and down here over the past few weeks, but as the season progresses, he's going to kind of level out to be one of those guys that we can pencil in for right around 8 targets a game. He may not be a league winner. He may not go out there and be somebody that wins you a matchup every time you throw him in your lineup, but he's going to be a great depth add and a safer floor wide receiver in an offense that's going to start utilizing him more consistently as the season progresses. Then we go down to Tampa Bay, and it's Mike Evans. People see Mike Evans' lack of production the last couple weeks, and Chris Godwin out there balling, and just automatically assume that Mike Evans is now over with. It was great while it lasted. No, it was very difficult matchups. So if you can go out and grab Mike Evans, better days are coming for sure. Tennessee, no one we're really going after, but then we'll end it with Washington. If you can grab Brian Robinson Jr., now is the time to do so. Austin Eckler in concussion protocol, Brian Robinson with a matchup this week going up against Arizona. He's definitely in line for huge volume rest of season, plus we're seeing him included not just around the goal line, but also in the pass catching game, so that is definitely a boost for Brian Robinson. If you can go out there and grab him now, it may be too late if you wait until after week 4. Now, obviously, there's a lot of players on a bunch of teams that a lot of you guys may have questions about. And as much as I would like to go through the entire roster of all 32 teams, that's just a little bit too much to cover in a YouTube video. However, if you leave a comment down below in the comment section with certain players that maybe you're looking at a trade for, I can try to help you out. Now, no, I can't tell you who to trade these guys for. I have no idea what your total roster is. I don't know your opponent's roster. I don't know your league scoring format. There's a lot of things that go into that. We do get a lot of questions saying, hey, what can I get for Devontae Adams? You got to find a team in your league that is wide receiver needy. Find out what they have an abundance of and try to make a swap there. So if you have a trade you're contemplating, throw the 2 names down below in the comment section. I'll let you know on the surface if that's a trade that I would personally make or not. Now, if you haven't hit the like button yet, now is the time to do so. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that as well. It's free and greatly helps us out here on YouTube. But I'm going to go ahead and get after the day. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day, and then most importantly, do your part to make the world a better place.
Analytics off the chain, all the channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headline Nation, we running the game.